The first rule of book club is do not talk about book club.
In this episode, we talk about our book club. In fact, this might just be a recorded meeting.
Well, I guess rules were meant to be broken. Enjoy.
Hi, Chanel.
Hello, Cinti.
So, I have a question for you.
What
I
is
was
your
thinking
question?
I was thinking about this episode, and one of the first things that I thought of was people who like movies over books.
Oh.
But as someone who is well read, also you're also what is the word? The word that it means that you watch a lot of movies.
I don't even.
Well cultured, I guess. Is that
I guess.
Whatever. As someone who is well read and well cultured, what is your favorite book to movie series? Or like adaptation, not series. Book to movie adaptation. It can also be a series. But because there's a lot out there.
I don't know what my favorite is.
Okay.
That's rough. Mm-hmm. But there are a few that stand out. Mm-hmm. I would say, of course, Hunger Games. Mm-hmm. Especially because, like, I read the books, all of them.
Yeah.
And then I watched the movies. I still haven't seen the last movie because I couldn't do it. My heart hurts.
Oh, the Hunger Games series?
Yeah, I still never watched it. I know what happens, obviously, in general, because I read the book. But the book, I was sad.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't do the movie again. But my favorite one in that series is the second book and the second movie because it's like, damn, you gonna play it like that?
The way I don't
entire
remember.
book. We might have to do like a rewatch one of these days.
I think they came out when we were like middle school. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a long time ago.
So good. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's one I love. Another one would be like Call Me By Your Name. Timothy Chalamet.
The way that the funniest story about that, I watched that movie illegally.
Yo ho, yo ho,
Oh, Pirate's Life for me. Yeah, I watched it illegally because I think it came out. When did it come out? Were we in college?
I think so.
Okay, but I was home for the holidays, and I was like, my parents were not gonna allow me to watch that. So I remember watching it in my room. I don't think I had headphones, so the volume was down super, super, super low, and I only watched it because everybody was talking about it, and like. I feel like if I watched it now, the impact of it would be different.
Yep.
But I don't think I really got the impact of it.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I guess.
Okay, skinny white boy.
You get
crying to the fire.
I guess.
Your heart's been broken. But like, why are you trying to go after a married man? Like,
Sydney,
girl, relax.
Let me tell you what it is. Mm-hmm. So, like you said, I was movie obsessed. Mm-hmm. Cinephile. That's what they call it.
Oh, cinephile. Okay.
Cinephile.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So this was back in the day where I was in my movie girl era.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely. So I went and watched that movie in theaters alone during a matinee screening. So like
nobody else was in there.
Nobody was there.
It's like your own private screening.
My own private screening. Tell me why I was bawling my eyes out.
I mean, it's a very powerful movie.
It's so good.
It like hits you in your feels.
Yes. So that was an example of a movie that I watched and then I read the book afterwards. The book holds up.
Oh, really?
Yes, the book is good.
Or I guess the movie holds up because the book came first.
Yeah, the book came first and then the movie. Yeah. So that one was such a good movie to me. I don't know if I've ever watched it again, but that one time,
I think we should watch it again.
Heart. Yeah, because that one's a good
because I think I need to see it again.
And we'll see if it holds up because it's been years now.
Though I don't like Armie Hammer, so maybe I won't watch it.
We could watch it again, but it's definitely going to be different because
now we know.
He's
crazy. He's
crazy.
Scary.
I'm scared.
Very scary. Yeah. Okay, so you said the Hunger Games series.
Yes.
And Call Me By Your Name. Mm-hmm. So the way in which I don't even know I don't remember.
You don't remember? Nothing?
So I have some, but like the first one that came to mind was Twilight. I'm not going to put Twilight up there as cinematic masterpiece.
Let me ask you. Did you ever watch Perks of Being a Wallflower?
No.
Never?
Never.
That needs to be on the list. That movie and book
are really good.
A1.
Okay.
Absolutely.
I think maybe maybe if I do not know if this is a book that was made into a movie. I know it's somebody's life, but I will like hands down. One of my favorite movies is The Pursuit of Happiness. I think it might have been a book. And similar to you, how you like bawled your eyes out. Mm-hmm. That's the first movie I've ever watched where I actually felt like I felt it. Because most of the time when I see movies, especially like growing up to try to help myself watch more like horror thriller movies, I always had to remind myself that they're actors. Yeah. So I always detach myself from the people on the screen and being like, okay, well, this is not real. This is people who are actors. And I would do my due diligence before I'd watch a movie of like, this is the lifestyle of this villain. And they're nothing like the villain. So I'm like, okay, I'm watching a person pretend to be something else.
Homelander from The Boys.
But have you... Sidetracked for real quick, but have you seen interviews with the cast where they're like, who is most like their character?
Oh no.
But here's the thing, I don't know if they're trolling him or not.
They have to be trolling him.
They could be trolling, but they always say that the guy who plays Homelander is the most like his character.
You see, and it doesn't help that he's a Kiwi, because I feel like we associate Kiwis with just being like, yeah, whatever this is, yeah. And so for him to be playing one of the worst people ever is crazy.
Yeah. Whew. So to The Pursuit of Happiness, the crazy thing about that was I actually was supposed to be seeing Twilight that day.
Very big switch.
Well, so the thing was, it was me and my mom, it was my cousin and my aunt, right? We had bought tickets to go see Twilight. Mm-hmm. But the thing is, it was in a certain theater, right? But a movie was still finishing. They were like, oh, okay, well, you bought tickets for this showing because Twilight was still popular. They're like, it's going to happen in this theater, but it's finishing a movie. But we'll let you in. You can get your popcorn and you can wait. Yes. So instead of getting our popcorn and waiting, this was before, like assigned seating. Yep. We were just like, okay, well, let's just go see if the theater is, empty. Because we were just like, Pursuit of Happiness, it was kind of popular at the time, but more people were there to see Twilight, and we wanted to ensure we got good seats. So we went in near the tail end of I think we were probably like 50% through that movie. We went in to the tail end of like The Pursuit of Happiness and sat in the middle row because that's how empty it was. Yeah. So we had perfect seats for Twilight. Mm-hmm. But as I was watching this movie, I just felt so strongly to the struggle that I was just like, dang. That after we finished Twilight, my brothers were watching a movie in a different place because they didn't want to watch Twilight. We watched it again and I cried.
Aww.
I cried. And I feel like if anyone were to ask me what my favorite movie is, I would say The Pursuit of Happiness and then Howl's Moving Castle.
Okay.
So I feel like, to me, if that was a book, which I feel like it was a book, that is the best book to movie adaptation. If it's not, I just use this entire time frame to tell you about my favorite movie.
Period.
But I really like that one. Another one that I would say that I enjoyed for the time was the Harry Potter series.
Yeah, they were dragging it at the end, bro.
I don't necessarily think so.
I think so. That's because that started the trend of them taking the last movie and making it 2 parts.
Yes.
And for me, I was there, midnight screening, opening night, let's go, baby. And I was like, okay, that's it. That's all we're doing for part 1. We could have made this one movie.
I disagree.
Fair enough.
I disagree. And let me start by saying the reason why I like this book to movie adaptation is because I think the Harry Potter series is, at least in my current thought right now, one of the only movies that did the best job from character to like book to movie character like adaptation, where I felt like the characters looked like they did in the book, in the movies. Of course, there were certain things like, Daniel Radcliffe, his eyes weren't the same because the color contacts weren't working. And they assumed that Daniel Radcliffe was going to grow taller than he actually did. Those like slight differences. Yep. But even still, they stayed true to depicting the children as they showed up in the books and then carrying that throughout the series. That's what I really liked. My point to the last book, I was such a fanatic that there was so much that happened in the last book that I wanted to see it all. Yeah. I wanted to see it all. Yeah. I do believe that it should have been one movie, but I still feel like the time frame was good.
Well, I'm guessing, I don't know. Well, first of all, let me say this. I've never read the Harry Potter series.
Oh.
So I don't care.
Yeah.
I'm watching a movie.
Yeah.
And I need you to... It needs to make sense.
They were pandering to the people who read the books.
So I don't care. So I'm just watching the movie like I have to wait a year to watch the next part. And this was too much in this movie. Like, you know what I mean? Not too much. That's not what I meant to say. But like, this is too long for what you're showing me on screen.
Oh, it was fully pandering.
Yes.
Because I remember reading, because just to give you like an example of the type of like fan I was, I remember, because this was prior to my book buying obsession. And also I didn't have my own money. My parents were buying it. I remember getting on the wait list for the last book and crying because I was number 500 and something. And my library was only getting 20 copies. And I was like, I'm never
going to read this book.
And I was begging my mom to buy me this book. And my mom was just like, you only read a book once. Like,
I promise I'll read it 10 times. Please.
I was begging. She was like, you're only going to read it once. I was like, well, the boys can read it. And she's like, that's 3 times. And I don't even remember how much a book was, but it was just one of those.
Books were so cheap back then.
But it was just one of those things. I mean, I can't speak to what my parents' finances were at the time. 3 kids. We all had our own activities. We're all going to school. And my brothers needed to be fed, whatever. So I remember being so sad because I was number 500, but I didn't understand the library system, especially with a book that popular. There was 800 copies that were coming to the state of Arizona. So because I was 500 something, I got a copy because I was one of 800. Because what they do, at least for this one, that whole list was for the entire like library system of the state of Arizona.
Yeah.
So pretty much what they did was like they just shipped books around to whoever was on the list. So even though it was 500 something, that wasn't necessarily 500 something for my library. That was 500 something for the entire state of Arizona.
Yes.
Which makes sense, right? To have 800 copies of a popular series. So I remember right after I got the book, we went to the grocery store and my mom was like, come on, get out of the car. And I was like, no, I want to read this book. She's like, well, you need to get out of the car. And I was like, the only way that I'm going to come with you into the store is if you push me in the cart.
Yep.
Like I'll sit. And she's like, I need to buy groceries. So she left me in the parking lot.
Period.
With the door open. She was like, if someone comes, you run away. And I was like, someone could have taken me. I was so in that book. But I read that thing front to back. And after I closed it, I was like, I was like, I need a long movie. I want to see every single one of these scenes on the screen. Every last one. Yep. So I remember thinking, I was like, this movie can't be, because at the time I think most movies at most were like an hour and a half.
Oh yeah.
Even like a 2-hour movie.
I'm fine with a 3-hour movie.
Yes.
I'm completely fine with that. It was the 2-parter and we're splitting it up and I gotta wait a year. And then also I would have to rewatch it, but back then I was like, I remember watching part 1 and being like, they were dragging it, bro. Like if you would have just made this a 3-hour movie and encapsulate both of them, that would be a better movie than you splitting this up.
Yeah. Well, at the time,
you know what I'm saying.
At the time, 3-hour movies weren't even a thing. I feel like even now we have
it was a thing.
Was it?
2000s, there's definitely been 3-hour movies. Ray was a 3-hour movie.
What's Ray?
Ray, it was where, what's that one black actor? Jamie Foxx played the black musician, Ray Charles. And that was a 3-hour movie. I remember watching that in
then
theaters.
Lord of the Rings too?
Lord of the Rings was
But like,
long,
they were in their own class.
What do you mean?
As in like, they were, like Lord of the Rings have always been always been said to be long movies. Yeah. They were always in their own class. So to an extent.
They could have got away with a 3-hour
They
movie.
probably could have.
They only did the part thing to make more money.
Well.
100%.
Well.
And then right after they did that, then Twilight and everybody else started doing the same thing.
I will say that I do not
did
like
Hunger Games do part 1 and part 2 too?
I don't remember.
But
I will say that's one thing I don't like about that decision is the fact that all other movie series started doing that. But again, I'll have to rewatch it because here's the thing.
I'd have to rewatch the whole series. I don't even remember.
I watched the first part. It actually took me years to finally get to the second part. I don't even know what happened. But I was in the theaters for the first part, and I think something happened where I couldn't see the second part. It took me years. And so I felt like it was great. But I also did not remember what happened in the first part before the second part because all the action happened in the second part.
I think that's what the key was. Because I was like, what was the point of this?
It was building. It was building.
So you could have just...
There were some scenes that happened that was like, it was necessary. I think like Dobby died at the end of the first movie.
I don't even remember.
But it's just like scenes like that where it's like there was a lot of build up to the second part, and that I was just like, I'm so glad. For me personally, I'm so glad that it was in 2 parts, because now I can just go, instead of having to open a movie and fast forward, I can just go to the...
You see, but if they would have made it one movie, they would have respected that and got rid of the stuff that didn't need to be in there.
We can agree to disagree, but we need to rewatch this movie and then have this discussion again.
We do, because isn't it, with all the movies, it's probably like 6 movies, 7 movies.
It's Deathly Hallows. It's 8 because there's 7 books in the series, and Deathly Hallows was split into 2.
Yep. So we're gonna have to do that.
Oh, I want to say this though to the podcast. I hate J.K. Rowling. I hate her. I hate her. I hate her. I hate her. I hate her for ruining this beauty that was my childhood.
Yeah.
I am looking at the Harry Potter series as a separate entity. And I talk positively about Harry Potter.
Separating
the
art from the artist.
Well, that's the thing about art, right? An artist cannot control people's interpretation of their art. And to me, this woman did not write the books. This woman did not write the books. It's somebody else. It's someone black, someone queer, someone amazing. Yes, I said it. In my heart of hearts, that's the way I'm going to say it. So for the people out there who have read the series and feel like I do, I see you, I feel you. I hate that woman. I just had to add that. Just my little 2 cents.
Okay. But I've never read them, so I just watched the movies, so that ain't got nothing to do with me.
It's if you like her, whatever. We're not getting into it. I'm gonna get so mad, and this book is gonna, or this movie is gonna, this podcast. What am I even doing? This podcast is gonna go from feeling well read to I hate J.K. Rowling and I love movies.
Exactly.
Woo. Okay, so in the span of the past year, we have been like reading a lot of books together. A lot of books. And we've gone through the good, the bad, and the ugly. Oh, kind of on the theme of what we were just talking about. Let's talk about some of the books that we've read that we liked and books that we think should get their movie adaptation. Ooh. Because we've read some good books.
So can we just go randomly, or you want to do the bad first, or?
So... I mean,
I feel like we should just bring it up as it comes.
I feel like we should.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got several.
Okay. Give them to me.
Everything Octavia Butler has ever written needs to be a movie. But
not a TV show.
Oh, no. We could have TV shows, too.
Well, have you watched Kindred?
I have not watched Kindred.
Isn't that the name? Yeah, that's the name. That's one of her books. It's a show.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
And supposedly it didn't do that great.
You see, I haven't watched it. My mom watched it.
Mm-hmm. And did she like it?
Yeah, I think she liked it. I haven't watched it because I haven't read the book yet. I was waiting to read the book.
Maybe it's mixed. Maybe it's not Kindred, but I just know Kindred is the book that's about the girl, a black woman who goes back to the antebellum South, right? Yeah. And it's kind of going back and forth.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was a TV show series adaptation. And I think it might be because some people took their own creative liberties with it.
Yeah, that always happens, which is annoying. And Octavia Butler, how dare you touch her work? I'm gonna slap their hands. So yeah, but from the ones that we've read. Yeah. Okay. Let me think where I want to start. Let's start with Fledgling.
Yes. My only 5 out of 5 book.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's drama.
Yes.
Fledgling is a fantastic book, but I would be concerned with that being made into a movie. They would have to do it in the right. It would have to be made in the right way, because you know how Hollywood sometimes they take advantage of young actors. So I would hope that they would get someone who's an adult who just looks particularly very, very young, because the main character, she is supposed to be a child. Well, she's supposed to look like a child.
The whole premise of Fledgling is about a black vampire. Just to give some background, and spoiler alert: this entire podcast is going to be talking about the plots of movies or books.
We can't control ourselves.
No, we can't. So the whole premise is it's about a black vampire who wakes up realizing that her entire commune, her entire family
is dead.
They've been burnt. Mm-hmm. And she ultimately she has amnesia. So she's ultimately trying to remember where she's come from and who's after her.
Yeah.
Right. But because she's a vampire, vampires don't age. She was she was like
genetically modified or something.
She was genetically modified. Most vampires were white.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But yeah, she's a child and she's going to be a child.
No, not necessarily.
Or was it she's a young vampire and she grows up?
Yes. It's just like the growth patterns of vampires is very slower. It's very slower. It's much slower.
Yes.
So in essence, even though she's like, I think she was like 40 something.
Yeah.
40 something. In essence, 40 something to a being that never dies is a child.
Yeah.
And so that's what her body represented. But even though she was in the body of a child, she was technically quite old. Mm-hmm. But even still, it's somebody who looks like a child, who moves like a child, who's doing adult and mature things. Mm-hmm. It's very unsettling.
Very uncomfy.
So this is where I believe that Hollywood can have their own creative liberties. Age her up.
You see, I don't think you should. I think you should find, obviously you can't have a child playing that role. That's hard pass. I think the only way you could probably do that is if you're replacing her for the scenes that are controversial.
I don't want to see it.
I would say, for me, I would want them to do it in a way where they're not showing those scenes, but they're implying it. Because in the book, that's the point of the book.
Yeah,
it's the point of the book. If you're not going to do that, there's no point to have a movie made. Just go read the book. The whole point is that and we've talked about this, Octavia Butler is a crazy person. Brilliant. Crazy person.
Well, it's the person, she's trying to make you feel uncomfortable.
She's trying to make you feel uncomfortable, and it's like, would you be okay with this? And obviously the answer is no. That's how she's writing it. The answer is no. But the child having a sexual relationship with this grown man is the point of the book. And so I think if you're going to make a movie that's going to respect the book, you have to do that. I don't know how you're going to do that. Maybe you shouldn't make a movie.
So maybe Fledgling shouldn't get a movie.
Maybe. I think there is a director and people who could make it happen.
Yeah.
And we would probably watch it and be like, brilliant. Right? Oscar. Definitely could happen, but they would have to be very intentional and they would have to be very careful and they would have to be very specific with what they wanted to show.
Yeah.
So that one, controversial. Would I watch it? Yes.
Probably, yeah.
But we might go click and turn it off. Because if you don't do it right.
Click and turn it off, but then maybe come back and see if it gets better.
Maybe. So that one, I would entertain a movie option for that.
Can we just also quickly talk about that book? The way in which, because the way we have our book club structured is we have a book that we're reading and we typically discuss how long we want to read the book.
Yep.
And from there, we take the number of pages in the book and divide it by however many, like weeks, right?
Yep.
I remember when we start, because that book gut punches you super early. Woo! Within the first couple of chapters. I remember when we met, we were all uncomfy.
We said, did y'all read it?
Yeah. Did you get to that part?
What the hell?
And we were just like,
but why is it so good?
Literally. We were all just like, we're all uncomfortable, but we don't want to stop reading.
Yes.
But we're going to acknowledge the fact that this makes us uncomfortable.
And it's uncomfortable, but this writing is so good.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And then we devoured that book.
I mean, I said it's like the only book that we've read in the past almost year that I've been doing book club with y'all. This is the only book that I've ever given a 5 out of 5 rating.
It's solid.
It's a solid book.
Solid as a rock. Whew.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add that. You were going to say your next book that you think should be made into a movie.
Yes. Well, actually, so we're still in Octavia Butler land.
Yes.
Because we read one more thing together, right?
Yes.
So it was the Exogenesis series. And the first one's called Dawn. TV show, 100%.
Yeah, I agree with you.
TV show. I would watch the hell out of that TV show.
Hey, HBO, are you listening?
Please.
Because I think HBO would be the network that's able to do more mature themes. And they've done them before.
Yep.
That, they could probably get it right.
That, I'm amazed that they have not grabbed this.
I wonder if there's just something from her estate that's stopping it from happening.
Maybe. because that TV show would eat.
It's good. It's good material.
It's good material. And so you've only read the first book. I've read the other two. I won't bring up anything.
Don't say a thing.
I won't. The entire series is good.
Yeah.
And I told you after I finished the other two books, I want 20,000 books.
Yeah.
I want it to be the Dune series. That's what I want.
Yeah.
There needs to be, I need her to have a random estranged child and just write 30,000 books that we don't need.
Yeah.
I need that because it was that good. Like the way that they set it up, I was like, I could imagine this going on and like you just continuing the series with the alien race like going on and on and on. So good. That TV show would devour.
It would eat.
It would eat.
Because I've only read the first one.
So good.
And I agree with you that I see it as a TV show more than I see it as a movie.
Yes.
It's a series.
A movie would not be enough. The movie would have to be
giving
3
Westworld.
movies.
Isn't that the name of the one?
Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Westworld vibes, definitely. Westworld, the first season was good. I fell off after that.
I did too.
Yes. But like the energy it was giving in the first season, that needs to happen throughout.
And Westworld was also HBO, right?
Yes.
So there you go.
So yeah, HBO might be a good one.
HBO.
Please.
Get on it.
Please. And let us write. Or not. Just let us sit in on the writing meetings.
I mean.
So yeah, that's another good one. Did we read anything else from Octavia Butler in book club?
Not together.
Okay.
Not together.
I know definitely Parable of the Sower. That would be a phenomenal movie.
I think you gave me that book. I think I have it.
I think so.
Yeah.
That would be a phenomenal movie. I think that one could also be a TV show though, too.
Okay.
I think it could. It would kind of give like Walking Dead vibes.
Oh, okay. Got it.
There's no zombies in it, but it would give that kind of
vibes. Yeah.
So I think that's AMC. Shout out to them. So so that's for Octavia Butler. It literally adapt anything as long as you're respectful. What about you? What's the next one?
You already said the 2 good ones. You know, one that I would actually be interested, which would be a really cute, quick sci-fi film. Binti.
You see, yeah, one movie.
It is one movie. Because in all honesty, Binti. It's a trilogy series, but we got the book that put the trilogy series together.
Yeah,
and that is a movie.
Yeah, that's
just one movie. And I think that'd be pretty good.
It'd be cute.
It would be a little cute little thing. Just quick, cute
fresh
thing.
fun.
Yep. Especially because that book takes you for twists and turns. So the premise of that book was it's a little black girl from Earth.
Yes.
Who pretty much in the society that she grew up in, the only thing a little girl would do is to get married and have a family and become a wife. Yep. But she has the ability of being a very well-renowned mathematician, and math like kind of runs everything. Like math is a power. Yep. Where you do things called treeing, and you probably know what that is because you're a mathematician. I don't know.
That has to do with like probability.
Okay, so she does treeing very, very well, and through the ability of treeing, she can open like a mind's eye and just do a lot of power with that. Yep. And because she knows how good her abilities are, she doesn't just want to be a wife. While she does want to be a wife, she also wants to be educated. So in the middle of one night, she like applied to a college without telling her parents. And in the middle of the night, she left and went to go to the school that is in like outer space or something. It's like that's where the sci-fi comes in. And in this journey and on this endeavor to go to school, she meets or runs into trouble that changes the course of her entire life. Yep. Like her entire life is effectively changed because she made that decision. Yep. And ultimately it's her kind of navigating life now that she's made that decision, and how she can, continue on her path forward with being like a very well-renowned mathematician, but also trying to deal with the fact that she can no longer be that person within her community that she was when she left. Yep. So it's very powerful. I think it's by, who is that by? Is it by
Nendi
Okafor?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
And I said I think I said that very poorly. Yes. So apologies.
Yes.
And it's very on par with a lot of the books that she's written. Yeah. I just like this one more than I've liked because I've read her Akata Warrior series.
I've read Remote Control from her.
And I think I like Binti better than
I agree.
Akata
the other
Warrior.
ones that I've read. Yeah, that would have to be one movie because I feel like even though it was like short stories that were put together, it kind of was a little bit long-winded.
Yeah.
And I think it could have been parsed down a little bit more. So I think one movie would be solid, hour and 30, knock it out. It would be a cute little fresh moment.
And I keep saying that.
Quick midnight snack.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could see that movie and I could see some of those scenes in my head when I was reading it. Yeah.
And that's the thing about a lot of these books, which I've been learning to re-love, is how well they're written that I can see it happening in my head. Like as I'm reading, I'm watching a movie.
Yep.
And that's what I love about books, because it's taking me to someplace different where I'm able to be like, oh, we're like outside.
Wow.
Trying to run in the forest not to be seen.
Oh my God.
We're vampires.
Wow.
So those I think are 3 books for sure that I think deserve either movie or TV adaptations. I can't think of.
You know what else?
What other one?
The Deep.
No.
I would. No. You wouldn't watch it, but you got to admit that would be a good movie if they changed the ending.
Yeah.
That's it. Just the ending.
But I would never watch it.
What did you give that book?
I think I gave it a 4. Yeah, I think I gave it a 4.
That's a good book.
Or maybe a 3.5. I can't remember.
I think you gave it a 4.
Okay.
With that one, we were on the edge of our seats up until the ending.
I could not sleep at night. You laugh. I had to read that book. I didn't even read it. I think the worst part was I didn't read it. I listened to
you guys said the audiobook was more intense. I read it physically, so
the audiobook literally, because when you have someone who's reading to you, they're doing all the different voices and they have music playing.
Yep. Dang.
The light had to be on. The lights outside had to be on. The sun needed to be shining. I started reading that book when I was at work amongst other people, just so that I know if I was taken, someone could see me.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it felt like I was about to get grabbed.
But you got to take out the horror aspect. Come on, Cindy. You just don't like horror in general. So
how do you take that out? How do you take out the horror aspect from a horror?
Be objective, girl.
How do you take out the horror aspect from a horror?
I'm not saying
book?
Take out the horror aspect. I'm saying take out your disgust for horror, which is the point of horror. Take away your disgust from horror and think of it objectively.
I can't.
Trash. So let me speak then.
Yeah.
Because your opinion is biased. I would say
opinions are always biased. What
your opinion is overly biased. Okay. So I would say that would make for a good movie. It would be solid because in that book, the premise was good in general. It was about like them having like a sickness or something that made them forget. Was it that?
Yeah. What was the name of the sickness?
I can't remember. It had a special name.
Yeah.
But
was it the sick? Was it just the sick?
It might have been. I remember it being something simple. So yeah, the sickness that was making everybody forget. And so we needed this random guy to come down there because his brother was acting a fool at the bottom of the ocean. And his brother is a scientist.
No, it wasn't that his brother was acting a fool. It's his brother left a message asking for his brother to come down.
Yeah.
It was one of those things where his brother, so pretty much his brother with 2 other scientists were sent down because they came across this thing called ambrosia, which they believed had the powers to cure the sick.
Yes.
And so they needed to go to the bottom of the ocean to do that. But because they're at the bottom of the ocean, like messages and like transmission of communication was very like few and far between. Yep. They got a message from his brother saying like, I need my brother down here. Bring my brother down here.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Mm-hmm. And so for that one, they would have a hard time adapting that. So they would have to figure that out. I think I would be horrified during that movie, which is the point.
I don't want to watch it.
Some of those scenes would be off the chain, off the wall. I'm thinking of the one where I can't remember if it was the guy or the girl, but the bees.
It was the girl.
You remember the bees? And then they were supposed to be like using her body as like a hive or something like that. That description makes my skin crawl.
Yeah.
So if they try to do that on a screen, that's terrifying. Absolutely. So I think that would make for a good movie, but they have to, for the horror movie fanatics, but they have to change that ending. The ending did not work for me at all.
I feel like that's something that we need to talk about books, with how they can start so strong.
Yes.
But they end poorly.
On that note, I swear it's most disappointing when a book has great potential. Mm-hmm. The Other Black Girl. Let's go there for a second.
No.
Let's go there for a second. Because
the premise?
Did you read any of that book?
Or
did I tell you not to?
No, I started it. I bought it. Mm-hmm. I own that book.
Yep.
And I read the first chapter, the first 2 chapters, and I quit. Mm-hmm. And then I think I told you.
Yep.
I told you, yeah, I started this book called The Other Black Girl, but I don't think I can get through it. And you're like, oh, that book is terrible.
It was terrible. And I'm so mad because the premise, fantastic idea. And I was like, I swear to God, me and Maddie read it for a book club before you joined. And we were like, this is about to be a banger. We had all faith. And I read it and I kept reading and I'm like, why is nothing happening?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So like, just to quickly talk about what the premise is, it's literally a book version of Not All Skin Folk is Kinfolk.
Yes.
And how it's just like, when you're in a workspace, navigating like a workspace, there's not that many people who look like you.
Yeah.
Let alone like as a black woman, there's not that many black women. So if you're the only black woman at your job and another black woman gets hired, you'd be happy.
Yep.
But then you realize that black woman who joined is your biggest op.
Yep. Exactly.
And that happens.
That's a fantastic idea for a book, because it happens. Mm-hmm. It definitely happens. And so, yeah, the book was not hitting, and I ended up DNFing it. Mm-hmm. I was probably like 5 chapters to the end, and I was like, I can't do it anymore. And so I went and read like what happened, and I was like, I'm glad I didn't read it, because I would have been pissed.
Because it kind of went from like something that seemed realistic and realism and turned it
grounded
into, like,
in reality. Nothing really happened. So I'm like, this is really real. We're getting into slice of life. And then we went to magical realism. Mm-hmm. And I was like, this feels left field.
Yep.
Like, what? Mm-hmm. And then we ended up watching the TV show.
We did
first and last.
Yeah, first episode and last.
Thank
episode.
God.
And it wasn't that good.
It was not that good.
Did it even get picked up for another season?
I don't know if it did.
Okay.
I don't know.
Yeah. Which is also very interesting to me.
Oh, was there even room for another season though?
Well, that's the thing. That's why it was very interesting to me, because they kind of took it and like they adapted it. Because I think, because I haven't read the books, so you have to let me know if this actually happened.
Yeah.
But the other black girl, right? They're part of like the whole thing, and this is massive spoilers, but they're part of the thing where they were creating hair grease.
Yes. That
would like straighten people's hair and then like kind of mind control them or whatever. And the other black woman who joined was working with these women to get the initial black woman to be a part of their society, but that other black girl realized the errors of her ways and tried to switch sides.
Oh.
Right? And so they were trying to redeem her character, which I don't think happened in the book.
I don't think that happened in the book either. Yes. But again, I read it secondhand, so it's not in there as much.
And then from what I remember at the end of the the end of the show, it was like the girl had her hair, like she was a natural girl, and at the end of the show her hair was straight. Mm-hmm. And it showed like her doing very, very well at her job. So like the hair grease helped her secure her job. And then like she had a phone call where someone had called her. I think the people who were trying to help her throughout the show, one of them called her, and you thought like they had disappeared. And they were saying something like, it's go time. And she kind of looked up at the camera. Yep. And that's why there was like a potential for future seasons.
Yeah.
But from the book perspective, I think it's just kind of like she lost.
Yeah.
And that was the end.
Yeah.
She like succumbed to, my hair needs to be straightened, and then the end.
Yeah.
Give me the grease.
And that, I swear to God, all the action happened in like the last few chapters.
Yeah.
I didn't even make it to the action.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's an example of a book with a fantastic premise. So good.
Yeah. And I think that's the reason why it made it. Yeah, poor execution. And I think that's the reason why it made it to a TV adaptation.
Yeah.
Because people are aware that the premise is very, very good.
Yeah.
Just not
good to pitch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not well done. But okay, since we've talked about books that we've liked and books that have gotten adaptations, we're kind of on books that started well, but didn't end well.
Yeah.
How about books that were just bad from beginning to end? Because we have a lot of those. The thing that sucks and the things that you learn about being in a book club is that there's so many books out there, and a lot of them aren't that great.
You see, okay, I'm also going to sneak in a mid book in here.
Okay.
The Secret History. We finished it, first of all.
We finished it, yeah.
But it had potential as well. So it had potential because the premise is essentially like these people get together and these people are college students. They're all in the same class together, whatever. And they get together and they kill another one of their classmates. And the premise is like, why did they do that? Right? That's a great premise. Like, oh, I'm on the edge of my seat. Why did these people kill it? And especially with that, with the prologue that you didn't read.
Here's the issue, right? I think I have ADHD. And so I'm always doing this podcast right now is the first time that I'm able to hold a conversation with you and not do anything else. Because when we were not recording ourselves, I'd be over there on the phone with you playing phone games, typing out emails. Like, I don't think people understand how much of the editing is me taking out my click from typing, right? So typically when I am like listening to an audiobook, because it's just one of the things I learned with after buying a lot of books that we DNF'd is that I don't need to buy every single book that we read.
Oh yeah.
Is that I like to listen to audiobooks so I don't have to buy the book, but I can still like read the book. But if I'm listening to an audiobook, I'm not doing anything else but listening. So I'm going to be walking around, cleaning up and like, you know how it's just like you can only use a certain like certain part of your brain like once in a sense, where it's like if I'm listening to a podcast and I'm reading a paper, I can't do those at the same time. And some of the times I'd be doing both of those at the same time where the prologue happened.
Yes.
And I just don't remember it.
And it's so funny because in the prologue, literally the first sentence is basically like, hey, how's it going? We murdered our friend. Yeah, he's dead. And we hid his body. And yeah.
And then the first book club meeting, you and Maddie were just like, yeah, it's so crazy they killed him. I'm like, who'd they kill? We were like, who died?
We're like, hold on, Cindy, hold on. Let me read this to you. We killed this person.
And I was like, where is that?
Sentence.
You said first sentence?
And you were like, no way.
Nah, my book. I must be listening to the wrong book.
So funny.
Are we reading The Secret History by Donna Tartt?
Yes,
Are we all reading the same thing? Oh, okay. Then I go back and I'm like, oh yeah, you're right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good pull you in moment to start with, and then the premise was good, and then we just meandered the entire book.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to see that as a movie though. I feel like that would make for a good movie.
So here's my take though. I want more perspectives.
Absolutely. Richard is boring.
And he's unreliable, which I think is the point.
Yeah.
But with so many characters, the way in which I want to see everybody's perspective. But then at the same time, there's certain things that come up later. The twins.
Ooh, the twins.
The twins.
The way I put that into the back of my mind.
The way the twins would not work if we got everybody's perspective.
Yeah. But you know, the filmmakers, they know how to do that crap.
Yeah.
They know how to do a reveal. And then you'll be like, oh my God. And then you watch the movie again and you're like, oh, they did that. And that was, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. It started off strong.
Very strong.
And then it kind of fell through.
Meandered.
And that's another.
And it's long. So it was a drag.
It's another book as well that had a good beginning and a mid-end.
Yeah, because we start off strong. We meandered. Okay, that's a little bit interesting. And then meandered. And then what?
Yeah.
I guess. And that was the ending.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that one, I feel like a filmmaker could demolish that.
Right.
If they do the right things, they can make that so good. But mid. Yeah. So then going into what you were saying, which was the books that were bad, right? What you got for me, Cindy?
The Flicker in the Dark.
And you see, with A Flicker in the Dark, so this is a thriller book, and I feel like there are a gabillion of this same type of book.
Yeah.
Like just thriller books where it's like,
whodunit,
and they're I forgot what it's called, but it's just like a paperback that you would pick up at the airport and read on the way to your destination. It's like a book we're just reading it for fun type thing, right? And so that book, we started reading it because you found it on, I think it was Goodreads best list or something for thrillers.
I found it on the New York Times bestsellers. And so pretty much it was one of the first book clubs that we did.
Yeah,
I think
one of the first.
And we hadn't gotten into our groove yet of how we wanted to do book clubs. So we were just trying to find a book that related the three of us in terms
that we
of genre.
would all agree on.
But we read vastly different books.
Absolutely.
So that made it very difficult, where we were just trying to find books that we all wanted to read in every person's genre. And the only genre that we could find one was in thriller. Yeah. And so I was looking up the best thrillers published, whatever. This got a New York Times bestseller, and we were reading the synopsis, where in essence, it's about a woman who 12 years prior, or when she was 12, one of those, found out that her father was arrested because he was a serial killer. He was like,
dang, I forgot about this book.
So pretty much it was when she was like 12 years old, the summer that she was 12 years old, her father was arrested for going around and like killing I
think some of her friends, like people was going to school
people
with.
That she knew, and people who were about her age, going to jail, whatever. And so he went to jail, and she's living her life, going through the trauma. She's now finally in like a happy, healthy relationship as a therapist for people who were of the same age as her when this happened. And even though her father is still in jail, someone has come back into the town to repeat the same thing that happened all those years ago, making you question is like, did they really catch the true killer? And so
good premise again,
a very good premise.
Yeah.
Right. And we try to do the thing where we were going to read the first 20%.
Yeah.
I think it was like 9% in, I wanted to stop.
Yeah. And we were all on the same page.
Yes.
I think we said, let's give it a little bit longer and we'll see.
Yeah.
But we ended up.
Well, you got into a part, like, I think you were like maybe 18% through the book, and you're like, you guys, it's picking up.
Oh,
it's picking up,
yeah.
Remember?
Yeah.
And we got to that part and it picked up, but it was kind of like a roller coaster where it picked up.
And then it was boring again.
And then it was boring. And then it would kind of pick up, and then it was boring again.
Yeah.
And it just got to a point where we were just like, we're tired of this roller coaster. We want to hop off.
Yep.
That we stopped reading.
Yep.
But the thing was kind of similar. I can't remember what book you said it was, but similar to what you did before. You went to go read the ending. Oh,
yeah.
It's like the
other black girl. Yeah.
And we were just like, that was dumb.
Brother,
And there were certain things where I remember, like, and again, spoilers, I remember there was like, she's trying to, I think a private investigator gets involved some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, contacted her. Right?
Oh, yes. He was a
journalist.
A journalist who wanted to contact her about her father because
it was the anniversary of
it was the anniversary of the murder, and the murders were happening again.
Yep.
Right? You kind of find out later that this guy was part of the whole plot, like part of the plan. He knew everything, but he showed up. And I remember saying to you and Maddie and being like, they're going to sleep together.
And I was like, what?
Yeah, because she's like in a committed relationship with her like fiance, and like there was like a red herring, and it was an obvious red herring where they were trying to make you believe that he was the one, because
he went on business trips and stuff
always
like
on
that.
business trips, somehow was obsessed with her, found her, whatever. And I was like, they're gonna make it seem as though, or I was like, yeah, she's gonna sleep with the journalist, and you guys were like, no, she's not, like, she's with the fiance. I'm like, I don't know why, but I'm getting vibes that she's gonna sleep with him.
Yep.
And so we're reading the synopsis, and it says, yeah, she sleeps with him multiple times.
Yep.
And both of you guys were like,
why? You called it.
And I was just like, I just got the vibe. And ultimately, because I don't want anybody to read it, you find out that her brother was the one who was committing all of this.
Yeah.
This brother who was super protective of her, who was actually really twisted and demented.
Yep.
And he was just like, yeah, I was getting really bored. And I thought, it'd be kind of fun. He was like, copycats were coming out, but I'm the original.
Yeah.
And then he was just like, but I just got a little bit sloppy. That's why you got me. And
yeah.
I'm like,
and he's the one who basically told the journalist to go and talk to.
The journalist was a childhood friend. Yeah. That she found out.
And he like faked his identity and did the whole 9 to get to her. But it's like, bro, So you set someone up so that he could go sleep with your sister.
Well, no. The guy was not supposed to sleep with the sister. And that's the reason why, because the brother ended up killing him.
Oh, yeah.
Or no, she might have killed him.
Oh, I think she did kill him because she thought he was the murderer. But wasn't he also helping with the murders?
Yes.
I can't. He
was helping with the murders so that the brother could be in two places at once.
And it's like, how do you convince your childhood friend to murder for you? I don't know. I didn't like it. No. It was a no.
So don't read A Flicker in the Dark.
Just don't do it.
It's not my cup of tea.
You see, there's also some other books that I feel like everyone has heard of, and you think it would be a good book, but it's not. We tried to read Interview with a Vampire, because that has a movie, that has a TV show now. Mm-hmm. And apparently the TV show is good. I heard the movie's old, hit or miss, right? Shout out to Brad Pitt, though, I guess. With that book,
it just was hard to get into.
It was hard to get into because it's literally an interview with a vampire.
But here's the thing, right? What I would get, what I would hope to get from a book that's an interview with a vampire is, yes, an interview.
Yes.
But I want to feel as though we're going into flashbacks, right? Where it's like, I'm telling the story, but in the book, I want to be able to
I want to see
take me out of the room.
It starts getting wavy and then we move to a different scene.
But it was okay, kind of like what this is right now.
Yeah.
Right?
So, Cindy, you're a vampire, right?
Yeah, indeed I am.
Can you tell me about your childhood?
Yeah, so when I was 15, I got bitten in the neck.
Oh, okay.
And then when I finally woke up, I was a vampire.
Oh, okay. Well, I hope you don't bite me.
You look kind of scrumptious today, but I promise I won't.
Oh, okay. Hopefully I don't die.
That was
what'd you do Tuesday?
That was generally
what the book was starting off with, and all of us kind of met the next week, and we were like, "Yeah, it's not gonna happen."
I think that is a book that does better as a film or movie adaptation
because you can actually see what's happening. Mm-hmm. So if she would have wrote it that way, it would have been better. Obviously, we didn't read the entire book, so maybe it does have a true flashback.
I heard it gets better on. Once a certain character comes into play, it gets better. But I could not get past
we couldn't do it.
That exposition. It was just too much.
It was too much. And it was literally like we said, reading an interview. It's like if you went into one of those magazines, Vanity Fair, and you're reading an interview of a celebrity. Yeah. It's not interesting. No. And it did not pull us in. Yep. So I might watch the TV show, though.
I want to watch the TV show.
I heard it was really good.
Yeah, me too.
We'll see. Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe first and last episode.
Have you seen? You've seen Game of Thrones, right?
I've seen most of it. No, I've seen less than most of it.
Oh, okay, because I was gonna say, do you remember Grey Worm?
No.
Okay, because Grey Worm is Lestat, I think is his name. Mm-hmm. No, or maybe not. I can't remember the name of the main guy.
I think it's Lestat.
Okay. I can't remember if Lestat is the main guy or the Lestat is the guy who turned the main guy into a vampire. But regardless, the person who plays Grey Worm is the main guy in Interview with the Vampire. And the reason why I think that's great is because the way in which the Interview with the Vampire is written, the way they talk about black people makes me sick.
Oh, yeah.
But then the main guy is a black man. Yeah. So I digress. I feel like that's... When you add in a little bit of diversity into it, I feel like it just makes it better.
That's true.
So I think that is where the point of contention is.
Yep. Facts.
But yeah, those are two not that great books at all.
Do we have any other books like that just sucked?
Nothing that's coming to mind.
Nothing that's coming to mind.
It's to that extent.
Because once we DNF a book, I forget about it completely.
Me too.
It's gone.
Me too.
Gone with the Wind.
Mm-hmm. That's a big book.
Gone with the Wind.
I don't want to read it.
I don't want to read it either.
I've seen the movie though.
How was it?
It was okay.
Okay. Fair enough.
Yeah. Nothing to write home about, but it was a movie.
Old movies are hits or misses.
Yep. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've done a pretty good job scratching the surface of all the books that we read, and we have so many more books to read. Yeah. It's like this is going to be the end. Yeah. But I think the main thing that I want to wrap up everything, HBO, give us a call.
Give us a call. Let us write a show for you.
Or give us a call so we can tell you what we want to see in these adaptations of Octavia Butler.
I just want to be in the writer's room. I want them to hire us as writers, and we'll just be like, okay, you guys are going to write, and we're just going to be the creative directors.
We should pick the cast. I feel like that would be fun.
That would be
in
so
the
much
writers'
fun.
room. Like we should pick the cast.
Just make us producers, but like we're not going to contribute any money or anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah, I'm down for that.
Alrighty, so let me go call HBO right now.
Yeah, well, I have a connection.
Yeah. Oh, you do? Cool.
Yeah,
that works.
We'll just talk to them.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
If you see it, Octavia, there will be signs.
There will be signs. But yeah, okay.
Ooh.
This was a good time.
Yes. And so for our book club going forward, I hope we can actually get some good books, because it's always disappointing when we start a book and it sucks.
I think that's a way of the course.
It is.
It's what we got to go through. But sooner or later, we'll be able to distinguish what's good or bad based off reviews that we see and how books are doing. So we need to become more seasoned.
Yeah. That's all it takes.
Yeah.
All right, Cindy.
Deuces.
Peace.
I'll catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Is someone knocking on my door? Hello? Open the door. Open the door. I'm filming a podcast right now. Goodbye.
Hi.
You want to say hi to the podcast?
No, thank you.
Okay, bye.